We're now ready for scene 3. Let's look at our script. There are so many instructional designers who are former teachers. I know this is very possible. It may not happen overnight, but you can definitely do it. For this one, at first glance, there are several ways to go about it. You can have each sentence be its own scene with multiple animations, or you can have the entire paragraph just be one scene. Before we start adding in scene 3 assets, let's do a little cleaning up of scene 2. You can see that the scene 2 layers go all the way to the end of the timeline, when it should be stopping somewhere around here. And we want it to end when the VO ends for that section. So first, let's find out where the VO ends, or the voiceover ends, for this particular scene. Let's preview. Let's change the work area to be around there. Zoom out. Let's preview somewhere around there by going to the preview panel, clicking preview. Stakeholders. Create multiple work samples in Storyline, and even have sample scripting work available for companies and recruiters to see. Alright. That was the end of scene 2. So we want all the items to end there. Okay, one way you could do that is by going all the way to the end and start dragging it, but you can see here it's not draggable because this layer goes beyond 2 minutes. And so to cut it, let's select all the layers here, find out where we want to cut, which is right there. You do a keyboard shortcut of Alt and right bracket. Okay, Alt and right bracket, and see how it cut all the layers for scene 2 where this seek bar is. And also, let's actually move all of these items a little up so that it's closer to the center. Okay. Next, instead of adding in an exit animation to all of these layers, like we did for scene 1, let's try something different. We want this new scene here to have a different background color, and then we're going to add in a transition animation. First, let's add a solid color layer. What you're going to do is go to Layer, New. Okay, we know how to do text. Solid. And let's pick let's just pick this. You can copy this, or it doesn't have to be the same exact green, but a light green. Click OK. You can also use the eyedropper tool if you like. Click OK, and you see how the layer shows up at the top? It's covering the entire composition, and it's covering all of our assets. So we can adjust this layer by dragging it, or clicking and holding. And let's put it right where scene 2 ends. We don't want the scene to just switch over like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in a transition animation. In our animation composer, go to Starter Precomps, go to Transition, and let's preview. Look at all these cool transitions that you can do. So many transitions. Alright, let's try this one. Let's do the pan short, click on the drop down, and let's go do a left. And so we're going to click add. The transition animation is added to our timeline. For this one, it says pan short. Let's move it around into our timeline so that it works properly. Currently, if you preview it, the transition is not in the right place. So let's zoom in. Zoom a little bit more. Here, we're going to click on the transition and move it. Okay, right there. Basically, this cut marker here, this is where the new scene should begin. So it should be somewhere around there. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Yep. Where it says cut, that's where the new scene should appear. So let's preview. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's see if we scrub it, see if it works. Okay, let's change our work area. Let's preview. There are so many instructional designers who are for sample scripting work available for companies and recruiters to see. There are so many instructional designers. Okay, currently the transition doesn't look as smooth, but it will look better once we start adding elements. There are so many. Let's start adding in our assets for our third scene. First thing I'm going to do is go to freepik.com. And now I'm going to browse around. Okay, our third script or the third paragraph says there are so many instructional designers who are former teachers. I'm going to search for teachers or teacher. Again, a lot of the times you're going to be spending just browsing and searching for the right asset. This could be pretty time consuming. For now, we're going to go with this one here. I'm going to download it. It's going to save as a zip file. Okay, open the zip file and transfer the zip file, or transfer the file. It could be the EPS or the AI, or that means Adobe Illustrator. Transfer it over. Let's label it Teacher 2A. Okay, you can name it whatever you want. Teacher 2A. Let's close this. Go back to Illustrator. We're going to import that into our images folder. Remember how to drag the composition into our timeline? You can drag it. Let's put it above the green layer. Okay, adjust the layer so that it's flush with the green layer beginning. Let's click on the asset again. Let's make the image bigger. Hold shift. Okay, let's put it like that. Alright, let's check. We rescaled it to be a little bigger. Let's make sure that the image, yep, it still looks crisp. If ever you feel that when you resize the image it looks pretty blurry and it's a vector file like an EPS, if you click on this little icon here, which means continuously rasterize, this will make your image crisp no matter how big you rescale it. It will take more time in terms of rendering or, you know, creating the video, but this little button here means continuously raster. So if you have a vector file and you click this, no matter how high or how big you resize it, the quality of that image will still be retained. Alright, so we rescaled it like that. Let's go back to our script. Well, before we do that, let's preview the beginning of our third transition. There are so many instructional design recruiters to see. There are many instructional design recruiters to see. Let's look at our script. There are so many instructional designers who are former teachers. I know this is very possible. It may not happen overnight, but you can definitely do it. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to add a text here at the top saying it might not happen overnight, but you can definitely do it. So we're going to create a text layer. Let's put it here. Type it. It may not happen overnight. Let's make it bigger. Change the font to, let's make it bold. Franklin Gothic. Just doesn't have, your font doesn't have to be Franklin Gothic. Use any font that you like. Let's do Arial Black. There we go. May not happen overnight. Let's change the color. Maybe to white. Let's make it a little bigger. Oops. It might not happen overnight. Let's shrink this down a little bit. Let's duplicate this so that we don't have to mess with the formatting. Control D, duplicate, and then bring it down. You can definitely do it. Do it. Maybe let's make that one Arial bold. Maybe change the font style. Let's adjust it a little bit. Let's do that one Arial regular. Okay. There we go. Let's make that a little bigger. Okay, now we want to adjust the timing. Right now, this text appears all throughout the entire composition. We want it to appear past these layers. So you can click these two, drag it to the left. And we also want this transition to be on top of all of scene 3. There we go. And then we also want the sync so that you can definitely do it appears when it says you can definitely do it. So let's listen. There are so many instructional designers who are former teachers. I know this is very possible. It may not happen overnight, but you can definitely do it. Okay, so it may not happen overnight. You could definitely do it. So it's somewhere over here. Drag that over. It might not happen overnight is right there. Okay. You know what? Let's also create another text here because it seems pretty bare right now. I know this is very possible. Let's put this is very possible here. Okay. So let's duplicate. It may not happen overnight. Control D. Let's move it over to the beginning. Let's drag it down a little bit. Okay, there we go. It might not happen overnight. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, there we go. Oh, we gotta change the text. I know this is very possible. This is very possible. Let's change it to this. This is very possible. Scrub. Okay. Now we want to make sure that this text, which says, I know this is very possible, or this is very possible, that text needs to disappear as soon as it may not happen overnight. So we're going to cut this. Remember how to cut it? We can drag it from the end of the timeline, but it looks like it's not draggable because it's going past the 2-minute mark. We're going to click Alt, right bracket. So now if you preview, there we go. Great. Let's add some animations to these. Actually, the first one, since it already has a transition animation, let's leave the entrance animation alone. We won't have an entrance animation, but for the exit animation, let's create an exit animation. Let's go to text, starter presets, transitions, text layer, animate characters, and let's pick one. Yeah, we could do that one. Let's do an out animation for the text layer here. Out. Let's collapse that. Let's see what it looks like. Alright. And then let's make the text layer for this one. It may not happen overnight. An in animation. Collapse. And then let's also do the you can definitely do it. Same thing. In animation. Alright, let's preview this. Click 0 on the number pad or go to preview. Click preview. Really do it. Alright, let's shrink that. That's pretty. Recruiters to see. There are so many instructional designers who are former teachers. I know this is very possible. It may not happen overnight, but you can definitely do it. Recruiters to see. There are so many instructional designers who are former teachers. I know this is very possible. It may not happen overnight, but you can definitely do it. All right, we just completed scene 3.